Kia. I'm so excited to be with you again this week as we talk about, and I feel kind of bloated, but that's a whole nother gambit, and I know that was just too TMI, but it's my honest answer. But nevertheless, I am here with you this week to share with you some amazing information as always, and we're continuing the conversation about change. Change. Like, everybody needs to change. We need to change. You need to change. Kia needs to change. And so as we continue the discussion about change, one of the things that kind of struck me with everything that's going on, so if you have not seen it or haven't done it often as of yet, I typically try to tie in what we're talking about to what's happening in the world. And as we know, in the world right now, the world is pretty crazy. And so one of the things that came up this week is that as we're in a race and all of these other countries are in a race to come up with a vaccine to help save lives for COVID and everything, we know that China and Russia are trying to tap into computer systems and, introduce malware and all these types of things to get the answer before the US does. And so that got me to thinking, one of the things that I ain't gonna say known for saying, but if you ever heard me say it, is moving in silence. And what that means is oftentimes we want to make this big announcement that, hey, we're doing this. And then when everything goes to hell in a handbasket, like, we want to pretty much be upset or we get angry when somebody calls us out. And I think for me, like, a lot of times when I make my big moves, like, nobody knows that I made that move. And then there's no party, there's no celebration. But guess who is celebrating and glowing on the inside and like, yes, I got it, I did it. Me. Because it wasn't meant to be celebrated abroad or out loud or with everyone. That was for me. And so when I realized that it's for me, I don't have to have the validation or approval from the crowd, because guess what? It mattered to me, because even though these are my dreams, my aspirations, my goals, the things that I've set up that I want to accomplish, I can't expect everyone to be happy for me when I accomplish those things. And so what I had to learn was to move in silence. Like, when I went back to school, nobody knew I was in school. It was a secret. They just saw this stuff getting delivered to the house and nobody opened the box. But, they didn't know I was in school until I said, yeah, I'm back in school. Oh, and I'm finished. They didn't even know I had finished. Like, that's how silently I move. Like, it's crazy, and so I'm not saying that I shouldn't be celebrated for those things, but, like, are you going to celebrate me after the fact, or are you going to celebrate with me during the fact? Are you going to celebrate me regardless? Like, if you're not, then I typically don't say a whole lot, and so I don't need discouragement. I don't know why she want to go back to school. It's not for you to understand. It's for you to be your support and for you to really be present in the moment. If I need your prayer, if I need your help, if I need your encouragement, I think that's the role that people should play. But however, oftentimes we get the opinions, and I'm not one for opinionated polls. Like I say, opinionated polls make for a confused mind. So when I have to ask 10,000 people, like, well, how do you feel about this? Do you think I should do this? How do you feel about this? No, that's not who I am. Typically who I am is, like, I think about what Shakia needs, wants, desires. How does it fit? Can I get it accomplished? What challenges are going to be presented before me, and how am I going to overcome, these things? And so I plan and I think and I do a whole lot of things to make sure that this is the right move for Kia, not for anybody else. So when we're thinking about changing, yes, change. Like, when we're thinking about changing, we have to think about change as it relates to us. How do we feel about it? And more importantly, we should be moving in silence. We really should be thinking about how this move, this change is going to impact us, me, myself, and I, and then maybe extend it out to other people that may be involved in the change. Maybe say your kids, or maybe even a husband if you have to worry about that. But when you single and you doing this thing on your own, the only person you have to worry about is really God. And so I would say include God in all your decision making. Make sure that this is something that He wants, that this is the purpose and the path that He has aligned for you. But more importantly, making sure that you're moving in silence. Like, who needs the grand announcement? Like, it kills me on Facebook. Like, oh, I'm about to go back to school. Well, congratulations. Like, I'm more celebratory, so I don't care what it is you do. Oh, that's good. Or I might not say anything at all. That doesn't mean I'm hating on it. It's just like, okay, well, did we really need the celebration? Because this is what I know about school. I was in school too, and when life hits, school gets delayed, things happen, all this kind of stuff. And so you get angry, upset when people ask you, have you finished school yet? Or are you still in school? Like the way that they may ask. And I never got offended because nobody ever knew when I was in school. Nobody even knew when I finished my degree until it came into the mail. Nobody even knew that I went back into school the year that my daughter went into college. Like nobody knew that until it became a piece of conversation. And it really wasn't up for discussion because it was my decision, and I made a decision to move in silence. So, as we continuing this process of change and I'm not saying that you shouldn't discuss your ideas or your plans, but you really want to choose who the people that you disclose that information to, because everyone is not going to be happy for you. Everyone is not going to be on your team or offer you support, and you will often find that you are alone in the decisions that you make and the processes that you have to go through. So I encourage you, move in silence. Like before you commit to the idea, make sure you thought it out, the roads, the bumps. How are you going to handle it mentally? I think that's huge. Like if something occurs, I will give you this story. When I was going through school, I was getting so frustrated because my internship, my practicum, none of that stuff was working out, and I got exhausted. Like I was really tired, and I just said, you know what? I remember them saying I can take this degree, and it was a whole nother type of degree. I can take this degree because at that point I just got frustrated and I was tired. So I took the other degree. It required less credits than what I had already had, and what I needed was just an intro class or something. And then by that May, I think it was May, matter of fact, it was that summer, I was finished. I was done. And then, like I said, I went back to school to finish the degree that I went into for my master's the same year that my daughter graduated high school, and then into her first year of college. I went back to school too. Just to finish what I started. And guess what? Things worked out so much better. But your mindset has to be like, I'm finishing this thing. Like, God, you told me this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You said this is the plan that you have for me. Like, why has it not worked out? And when I tell you, like, it's working out better for me now than it would have worked out for me then. And so I'm grateful and I'm thankful. I didn't see it in the moment that I was experiencing it, but I can appreciate it now because I actually got the opportunity to live it out now. It's working out so much better. Like, thanks God to COVID. COVID has been a curse and a blessing, I will tell you, in my own life. Meaning that I haven't had COVID, and nobody that I personally know that I can remember has COVID. And I haven't had any family members to be impacted. But what I will say in the curse sense, like, it's changed the whole world as we know it. But in the blessing sense, like, it really made life easy for me in terms of finishing this degree. Like, the girl is in her internship. Let me tell you, she doesn't have to use gas. She has to just log on to Zoom from the comforts of her office, and she does her work at her job that she actually gets paid for. So tell me my God ain't good, and that his plan is so much better than the plan that you think you have for yourself. And his timing is always perfect. So I'm not going to talk to you about church and God to death in this moment, but I just want you to think about moving in silence. Like, it's okay that you don't make this grand announcement and you have these cheerleaders and everybody's patting you on your back and, hey, you did a great job and that's a great idea. No, don't worry about that. When you move knowing that you're going with God and God alone, and that it's you that's going to definitely propel yourself into the next stage of whatever your biggest next move is. And so again, I want to say thank you for joining me today. Like, it's always brief, but I hope you've gotten some nuggets. I hope you've gotten some inspiration. I hope you're thinking about things differently in terms of change. And the biggest part of change is don't avoid it. We learned that last week. Avoidance is not our friend. And now we're talking about moving in silence. Change does not require an audience, and it certainly doesn't require any applause. But it does require a decision to be made, a plan to be lived out, and the courageousness to go and do the daggone thing. Do you hear me? I'm glad you hear me. So, nevertheless, I'll see you next week. I hope you've made a decision about the thing that you're going to change, how you're going to move, how you're going to operate, how you're going to do this thing for you and you alone and to fulfill the purposes of God. Because when you do it, like I told you, it's so much sweeter, it's so much better. And in this moment, just really just thinking about, like, what is this thing I need to change in my life? What is not working for me? How can I fix me? Like, people want to change other people. No, fix you. You the problem. It's not them. They got them. You need to worry about you. So again, it was a pleasure. It's always a joy. I thank you for joining me. I'm so excited. I can't wait till next week when we chat again. I don't know where my inspiration is going to come from, but trust me, I promise you it will be good. Have an awesome, amazing week. I will see you the next time. All right, this was Kia Speaks. Goodbye.